Okay, hi guys, how are you? Welcome, or if you're new here, or welcome back if you're a returning subscriber. So today, as you can see, I have a bunch of books behind me. So I'm doing what books I read in the month of September. This month, I was a little productive when it came to reading. I was zooming by, reading those books like crazy. So I have a lot to get through today. So let's just get on to this video. And if you want to see what I read this month, then just keep on watching it. This book haul of what I've read is not in order of how I read them. So this is just a pile, and I'm just going to get through the piles, okay? So one book I read this month, I actually really love this. It took me longer to get through this one, but it's because I got through a few series that were really good. And you know when you like finish a series and you're just sitting there like, I can't read anything else right now? That was me. So this book I read right after finishing those series, and it took me so long. And it's not a bad book. This book is not a bad book, okay? I promise. It's a pretty good fucking book. Can I swear? It's a pretty good book. It's just, I read it after finishing 3 really good series, okay? And literally, I pre-ordered the second book for the series, so I promise you, it's not a bad book. And it's called The Deer and the Dragon by Piper C.J. It is, like, in the fantasy, like, most of these books are in fantasy genres, and it's pretty good. I don't know how to, like, explain this book without spoiling it, because I feel like if I do, I just will spoil it for you guys. But it's pretty much this girl who's like a writer, and she finds out about like her family history, and like she thinks she's like crazy. Like literally, I love this book so much because it like touches on so many things that are like part of real life. Like it is a fantasy book somewhat, but it takes place in like real life. There's like fantasy aspects of it. And it also like talks about like mental health and stuff like that, so I love it a lot, and I feel like you guys should definitely read this book. This is like a huge recommend, like a 10 out of 10 I would say. So yeah, read this book please, I promise you. It did take me a long time to read. It was just like I said, because I finished 3 really good series before reading this one, and it's not a bad book. It's a really good freaking book, okay? I promise. Okay. Next, this, like, I read the final book after reading the book I just talked about, so it also took me a while to get back into it, but this is just the second and third book of A Deadly Education. I believe that's what I feel like I've talked about that book on my channel before, but it's just the second book, which is called which is called The Last Graduate. The Last Graduate is the second book. It's by Naomi Novik, and then the last book, the final book, is The Golden Enclaves by Naomi Novik. I love this series, honestly. For fall, I feel like it's a perfect book. I kind of hate though that they like, because I feel like the first and second book match really well, then they changed it up for the third book, and I hate it so much. Like I hate when books just don't match anymore. But yeah, this is very fall-like. I feel like you guys will like it. If you need like a book recommendation for fall, this series, you need to read it. I always tell people, like, if you've seen the TV show Deadly Class, it's kind of like that, but mixed with like Harry Potter. Like, it's Harry Potter, like if Harry Potter and A Deadly Class had a baby together, this series would be it. So yeah, it's very like dark academia, there's magic, and yeah, you should definitely read it for fall if you need a good book series for fall. Except one thing, if you're like me and you hate long chapters, this book might be a drag for you. Like I hate long chapters, but I just like the series a lot. So yeah. And also this book as well, I feel like I've like on Goodreads there's like bad reviews. I don't understand it. Like I get that the starting of the book is kind of like laggy and long, and you're kind of like, oh come on, like get to the point already. But I feel like this is a good series. If you keep pushing yourself past that, like please don't do DNR, I think it's called. Like don't do that. Like it's a good book, I promise. Like I promise it's a good book. All these books are good books, I promise. Please trust me. But yeah, I liked it. It's called The Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields. It's there's like magic as well in this book, but this I feel like it's more like a summary book. This has like more summer vibes compared to the other one. But yeah, and there's like a witch and stuff like that, and it's pretty interesting, and I liked it, okay? Okay, so this book, I definitely read through it so fast. This one was really, really good. It's called A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. I did pre-order the second book already. I'm so excited for it to come out in 2025. This, I breezed through it like there was no tomorrow. And the ending, oof. It's like, the ending kind of like ends on a cliffhanger. So when I read the last thing, I'm like, I want more. Like, I was so upset. Like, I'm so excited for the second book because I just want to keep reading it. And this one is like Norse mythology, kind of like takes place in like the Viking era, but there's like Norse mythology aspects of it. It's very interesting. You guys should definitely read this as well. Mostly I love the pages. They're so sparkly. But yeah, I really love this book quite a lot. Okay. So yeah, this is one of the series I read before the other book that yeah. So these are just the second and third book to the first book I read, I think. Hold on, I'm looking at it. The first book is called Realmbreaker, so it's part of the series. It's by Victoria Aveyard. I think that's how you say her last name. Or I guess the author's last name. So the second book is called Bladebreaker, and the third book is called Fatebreaker. So it's based off of the Lord of the Rings series, and I quite enjoyed it a lot. If you're looking for romance, you're not gonna get romance in these books. With me, that I'm fine. I don't need romance in my books. But if you're really big, you really need romance, you're not gonna get in these books. So if you might not like it. I quite enjoyed the series, and honestly, the ending, oof. I love these books. When this book ended, I was like, now I need to read the third one, because it ends off in a cliffhanger. You're like, no, I need more. Why did you do this? I think the second book, it will destroy you. The ending of the second book will destroy you, and you're sitting there and you're just I remember I wrote that in my journal because I was in such shock from the ending. So yeah, but you're also gonna like the third book, I promise. Okay, this book, I liked it, but it was also a disappointment to me, okay? Because there's magic aspects of this, also different seasons, talk about different seasons. It's called The Longest Autumn by Amy Avery, and I thought this was her first book. This is why I thought it wasn't that's why it was the way it is. But I guess it's not her first book. But this left me so disappointed because the book was building up and building up and building up and building up and building up, and you're like, okay, and then the ending was so disappointing. I feel especially the ending of the book felt so rushed. And if anything, I feel this is a 5 out of 10, mostly because I really liked the book. And the building, it was building up and building up, and then the way I explained it to a lot of my friends was kind of I can't say it on here, it's kind of inappropriate, but it was really disappointing. The ending disappointed me, and this book disappointed me, because it was so good, and then it wasn't, if that makes any sense at all. Oh, I feel I'm gonna sneeze. Bless me. Okay, the next series, I feel this is all over TikTok. I am so excited for the third book to come out. It's just The Fourth Wing and Iron Flame series by Rebecca Yarros. This book broke me. When I cried, so I never think I've ever cried for a book before or for a character before, but this, I cried. I wept like a baby. Okay, and I feel everyone who's read this book knows exactly what I'm talking about. And it's pretty good. It's about dragons. I love dragons, so I don't mind it. And it's very fantasy themed, and it's a War Academy and like fighting and stuff. But yeah, this broke me. This made me cry. And then I thought it was gonna be fine, and this Iron Flame also made me cry. Because, like I said, those who read this book knows exactly what I'm talking about. Those two scenes, like, oof, heart-wrenching. And I'm excited for the third book. Excited for it. So you guys saw in my haul for these books, and I finished the entire series. Honestly, this is the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. This is just the first one, House of Earth and Blood. I love this series, okay? Everyone was hyping up the ACOTAR series. I found that series kind of boring, and I think this is my favorite series from Sarah J. Maas so far. I haven't read the Throne of Glass series yet, but I do have the books. I do plan on reading them. So I'm excited to be reading the Throne of Glass series, but this was so good. And so far, I'm ranking this as #1 for my favorite series by Sarah J. Maas. Because, like I said, I did not really, like, I'll keep reading the Avatar series, but I'm just not liking the books. This I prefer, but I think it's because I can relate to Bryce Quinlan so much. And she's, like, my favorite main character ever for a series. Like, she is a whole vibe. Especially in this book. Like, please read this book and you'll understand exactly why I love her. She's, like, a bad bee. Love her. And yeah. Love her. So yeah, I just have also the other souls read. I read these so fast. So this is the second one from the series. Ooh, which is House of Sky and Breath. And also House of Flame and Shadow. There's a crossover, which I mainly bought this because it was a crossover with like ACOTAR. Because like I love these characters. Like the characters in ACOTAR, I love them. But just the story writing is kind of boring for me. But this, I enjoyed it. Some of the characters frustrated me, obviously. Like, those who have read it, you'll, like, understand, like, some of the characters freaking, like, frustrated me. And, yeah, so it's, like, kind of, like, it's hard to explain, because I feel like ACOTAR takes place in, like, the older days, and this takes place in modern time. There's, like, cars, there's, like, telephones, there's, like, fae folk, and then there's, like shapeshifters and, like, different characters. So it's, like, and there's, like, humans, too, but, like, it's kind of like if humans and fae and, like, shapeshifters took place in, like, this our day and age all together. We all coexist together, and it's pretty interesting. I love it. And how this, like, world was built. I love it absolutely so much. So, yeah. Oh, the books are falling. So that is everything for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate your support so much. Everyone who subscribed and watched my videos and everything, like, I appreciate your support so much. And I can't wait to see you guys in my next video. Have an amazing day. Love you all.